Hi and welcome. So today I want to share with you why those tactics like, avoiding your trigger foods or removing them from your house, they are not sustainable to resolve your emotional eating. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and emotional eating expert. And I wanted to dive a bit deeper into this and actually share some case studies with you. So a lot of the time, some of the advice we're given when we emotionally eat or that sort of is circling around us is to avoid those trigger foods that make us emotionally eat. So we're in a situation where we're in avoidance. And that means that we are still out of control around food. We haven't gotten to the deeper root of what's been going on for us. And so in the past, a lot of my clients, this is one of the tactics they would try, or, you sort of freeze the food, or you avoid the get together, or you just avoid the food. And so that can temporarily work, but it also makes your life really small. You can't, go out. You can't be around certain foods, or you feel like you're going to be taken over by the food. And then this really doesn't give you choice or sovereignty. And this is something that a lot of my clients are looking for, is having this choice where they make a decision to eat something and they're not left with feeling shame or guilt or that they're spiraling. And this is so possible when we really get into the root of your emotional eating and we resolve it and dissolve this pattern. You can make those choices and you won't feel sort of you're spiraling or you're out of control. I hear this time and time again from clients. And so recently a client of mine, she's been in the emotional eating evolution program. I think she's just about to the midway point, and she was doing some Christmas baking and she had M&Ms, and typically this would be one of her trigger foods and she would go towards this food. But she actually forgot that those M&Ms were around. She didn't think about it. She had no need for it. It wasn't constantly on her mind. She wasn't obsessing about it. And the reason is that we have been consistently doing the work and we are resolving her pattern. She's only sort of halfway through the program. We'll sort of see if more triggers come up, but she also has this reignited relationship to food and how it nourishes her body, and she's just feeling good overall. So I'm going to share with you what we have gone through in the program that makes it really get to the root. And, a lot of the times in our society, whether we realize it or not, we are in some kind of diet mentality. We have a set of rigid rules around food. You might not think you're this way, but, my plate should be this small or this big. I want to shrink my stomach. I shouldn't eat after 6. I ate too much. I'm going to stop drinking that much. Or, we have all of these different rules, and yes, they might be action steps we should take or we could take, but they're not coming from an embodiment of who we are and understanding our body and understanding our patterns with food. And so one of the first key steps when I work with clients, and like this client who didn't eat the M&Ms, is really creating that foundation of true nourishment. This is so important, especially to rebuild your relationship to food, and especially as an emotional eater, because when you are an emotional eater, you can't just be restricting and taking things away, because that's your crutch. That's what you use to soothe. So you're going to already put yourself in a place where you're going to derail yourself. So here we're adding in things that, we're eating in a way that's nourishing your body. We have morning rituals and creating meals that are satisfying hunger on all levels. We're nourishing your body so that you're not, restricting yourself so that you're binging. It's also a shift into opening yourself up to all foods, not just these are my diet foods and these are the foods I can only have. Really looking at your relationship to food. And as we do that, we minimize some of the triggers around emotional eating. And so we're also looking at when are you truly hungry versus emotionally hungry, which can be a really big thing that's missing. So we've been working on that. And so as she's been nourishing her body, some of those triggers have dissipated. So she's not thinking about the food. She's realizing how good she feels. She's looking forward to her morning, smoothie or whatever it is that's really grounding her and nourishing her. And it's not because she has to have it. It feels good in her body. The second area that we've been working on is around body acceptance. And so this is an important area to know about the rhythms and rituals that are important to your body. So are you having the right movement for you, or are you pushing yourself? So, this particular client, we've had some discussion around, she was really overly working her body with a lot of intense exercise. And before she started the program, she sort of took a break, but, she's been really connecting to the needs of her body and, looking at what it actually means to accept your body as it is and start shifting that mindset and looking at movement in a different way, rituals around, let's say, rest, and just understanding the body more and more and connecting to it. Even as we connect into hunger cues, or if we rest more, we're connecting into our body and how our body feels and not pushing ourselves past that limit. So the true nourishment and body acceptance piece, they really come together. And it's also looking at your body in a way that is, accepting. And this is, now we start to unpack, what do I really need? Because my client's goal is to feel good in her body, to move towards health. And so we need to shift her relationship to movement there. The third area that's really important and that we've been working through, so all of these steps are sort of happening at the same time, is with the emotional wellness piece. So here we were looking at the triggers and patterns around her emotional eating. We did a deeper dive with a one-to-one somatic meditation session, and she's been doing her own meditations where we look at the triggers and we really move through them, resolve them, and then we're able to move forward powerfully. Because through these meditations, you find out what your true needs are, and you're able to give that to yourself. And then from there, your next genuine next steps. And it's not about putting a band-aid on or using food to fill that hole. And so here you notice we're doing all these things at the same time. It's not that we're just doing the emotional wellness piece or the body acceptance piece or the true nourishment piece. They're all happening at the same time. And so sometimes women come to me and they think they have their nourishment piece set in place. They have the perfect diet and it's really about the emotions, but everything is tied in, because if we are restricting around food, that's going to trigger this obsession around food, and we might be into, we start binging, then we feel shame, and then that triggers more emotional eating. If we are not, we might think we're doing the right movement for our body, but if we're not more deeply connecting into our body, we might have that negative loop of mentally punishing ourselves, which does trigger shame and emotional eating. And of course, if we're doing the emotional work and not getting anywhere, we haven't set up the structure and this connection to our body and to food so that we know what the next steps for us are. So everything works together. I really love emphasizing the emotions part because I think it's really missing from a lot of things, but it's all interconnected and it's done in a specific way to help you really resolve your emotional eating pattern, dissolve it so that you can move forward powerfully and you start creating that feeling in your body where you feel confident, at ease, and good around food and in your body step by step. And so this is so amazing. And so, I've had other clients, it's Halloween and they don't reach for the candy. They don't even have an urge or a need for it because they're really connected to their body's needs. And they have choice. And so if they choose to have the candy, they feel empowered. And if they are in touch with their body, they might not choose that because there's a consequence to their action. They don't feel a compulsion or a craving or a drive towards eating a certain food. There's a lot of autonomy and that feels very empowering. And then all of these obsessions around food and your body sort of also dissolve too, because you're empowered in who you are. You're connected to who you are. And that's an amazing place to be in. When we are externalizing and we have the perfect diet or the perfect exercise plan, or, the perfect affirmations, we are not connected to who we are. We need to come back to who we are. And it might sound a little bit daunting, but with the right tools, it is not a daunting process. It's more effortless and easeful. It takes some work, but it's not as much effort that you've been putting into willpowering into these different plans. So that's how we dissolve this. this. And that's how you can have foods around in your cupboard and ice cream and cookies and be at parties and choose the right things for your body, because you'll be so connected to who you are. You'll know what feels good, and you won't have any guilt or shame if you do choose something that doesn't necessarily make you feel good, because you feel empowered and you have a pathway forward that's sustainable and that you've created this amazing foundation. So if what I'm saying to you is resonating for you and you desire this relationship to food and your body where it feels, good, it feels at ease, it's more sustainable, and you're not worrying and obsessing about food or reaching out for food every time you get hit with an emotion or a stressful event, I'd love to invite you to check out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program. This is my step-by-step methodology with lots of support and accountability and meditations. And this program is really all encompassing to help you move through your emotional eating and resolve this pattern so that you don't need to obsess and you don't need to emotionally eat. You really start understanding your pattern and you feel empowered. So I'll put the link for that below. You can take a look at the program, and also you can apply to it if it's resonating for you. Apply in and book in a call. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I look forward to sharing more with you. And I hope you have a great day.